Tonight, why Western alienation appears to be ramping up in the wake of Monday's election results. The Saskatchewan Roughriders acquire some notable names in the CFL draft. And we meet an equine dentist whose work is a real mouthful.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, April 30th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. The Liberals' election win has reignited the conversation around Western alienation. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says she wants to lower the number of signatures needed to trigger a referendum. And that has some worried Smith is whipping up separatist discontent in her province. Here at home, the opposition NDP is raising concerns about the same thing happening here.
This is reckless. And even the talk of separatism will kill investment in Canada, kill jobs, and cause more hardship to people who are already struggling. Will he commit here and now that there will never be a vote like this in Saskatchewan? And will he call his friend in Alberta and tell her to stop fanning the flames of separatism?
Hear, hear. With respect to referendums and plebiscites in this province, there's legislation that very much lays out when the people of this province, Mr. Speaker, are able to make that happen. When there is 15% of signatures of the number of electors that we have, Mr. Speaker, then the government is required by legislation to run a plebiscite, Mr. Speaker. So the answer to the Leader of the Opposition's question is no, because we'll follow the legislation that's been acted by former governments.
So is separation a real possibility here, or are these comments all about just letting off some steam? Helena Mahalik has that story.
Well, Canadians have spoken, and I want to congratulate Prime Minister Mark Carney on his election.
When Premier Scott Moe posted this video vowing to work with Prime Minister Mark Carney and the Liberals, many responded with calls for a tougher stance and even separation. One says enough is enough from the feds. We need a vote on leaving now and make a plan to separate with Alberta. But most of the people we spoke to on the streets are more willing to give the new Liberal government a chance.
But we got a different Liberal government with a different leadership who is kind of quite solid, and he's standing up to Trump. And I think that's what Canada wants right now.
This is a great nation, and we've always been known to pull together, and I don't know why this would be any different.
Earlier this month, an Angus poll survey showed that if the Liberals were to win the election, a third of Saskatchewan people would vote to leave the Federation. This political scientist says there's a long history of Western alienation, but that it does seem to be ramping up, partly due to rhetoric from Premier Danielle Smith in Alberta and a lack of Saskatchewan voices in the governing party.
The lack of strong provincial and regional voices in federal cabinet, in federal policy making, that can be an issue. For the last Trudeau Liberal government, there was there was no representation from Saskatchewan because all the MPs were conservative.
People out west were maybe.
This farmer says it seems the Liberal government tends to cater to the east. For example, putting more effort into fighting for the auto industry than the agriculture industry. He's a canola farmer hit by tariffs. He's cautiously optimistic the Carney government is negotiating.
We don't have a national plan for our export commodities, regardless of whether we're talking about canola or wheat or steel or what. If we don't have a plan to get our commodities out to the market and out to the rest of the world, the value of us producing them very quickly evaporates, right?
He thinks separating would do more harm than good to Saskatchewan. At this point, it's not clear whether some people are just looking for a way to vent their frustrations or actually seeking real action. Helena Mahalik, CBC News, Saskatoon.
And meanwhile, the opposition NDP says virtual care for patients in northern areas of Saskatchewan is not good enough. That's prompted the party to introduce an emergency motion to stop the practice of substituting emergency room doctors with webcams. The government has been using virtual health care as a way to deal with doctor shortages in the north. The health minister calls it a temporary strategy, but the NDP says it shouldn't be a long-term solution.
Trying to treat abdominal pain, a heart attack, a mental health crisis, a sick kid, a broken bone, a woman who has come into the ER in active labor, well, this is a new kind of ludicrous.
This allows us to keep that emergency department open so that people don't have to travel to the next community, to that emergency department. So, you know, and I would just say the quality of care, I have a high degree of confidence in the quality of care that's offered through the virtual physician program. And, you know, again, this is all about access to care and making sure that that's as close to home as possible.
Cockrell says the virtual healthcare physician program has helped nearly 4,000 people in rural communities across the province. He hopes to recruit and train more doctors to meet the needs of patients. There's been a mysterious shakeup at Regina's City Hall. One top-ranking employee is stepping away from her job, but we don't know why. It's the latest move in a long-running revolving door at City Hall. Scott Larson has more.
The current city manager, Niki Anderson, is on leave as of April 29th, 2025. In accordance with the requirements of the Cities Act, an acting city manager must be appointed for the duration of the leave.
It's a sudden change at Regina City Hall. The city manager is on leave. In a special council meeting Wednesday morning, Regina Mayor Chad Bashinsky confirmed Niki Anderson is on leave effective immediately. It's not clear if she'll return.
It's a leave that we were advised of. That's what we know so far, so we don't have any other information to share, just as being a personal matter.
Anderson was hired as city manager in November 2022, becoming the first woman to hold the job. She replaced Chris Holden, who was abruptly fired 2 years before his contract expired. He served in some capacity with the city for more than 40 years. Just weeks after Anderson was hired in 2022, 2 city councillors filed a lawsuit against Anderson over a budget dispute around homelessness. The mayor at the time, Sandra Masters, said the lawsuit against Anderson had tones of sexism. The lawsuit was unsuccessful, and the city's integrity commissioner recommended Dan LeBlanc and Andrew Stevens write an apology to Anderson. Anderson also accompanied Masters to an overseas global climate change conference in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, back in 2023. The two went as the City of Regina's representatives on the Government of Saskatchewan's delegation. Masters was voted out of the mayor's chair in November and replaced by newcomer Chad Bashinsky.
And the recommendation is that City Council appoint Jim Nicol as acting city manager effective immediately until further notice.
At the special council meeting Wednesday morning, council received confidential information privately, then confirmed city clerk Jim Nicol will become acting city manager with a pay raise. He'll be in the position until further notice. Scott Larson, CBC News, Saskatoon.
U.S. President Donald Trump says Prime Minister Mark Carney will visit the White House within the next week or less. Trump remarked about the criticism he faced from both Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre during the campaign.
I think we're going to have a great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, "Let's make a deal." You know, he was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won. I actually think the Conservative hated me much more than the so-called liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. Couldn't have been nicer. And I congratulated him. But he's a very nice gentleman, and he's going to come to the White House very shortly, within the next week or less.
The Prime Minister's office has not yet commented on Trump's timeline for this visit. CBC News has learned that Parliament is set to resume on Monday, May 26th. There will be some big names that won't be coming back when the new Parliament sits. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh were both defeated in Monday's election. Well, if you commute in Saskatoon, you will need to find a new way to get across the river. That's because the Broadway Bridge will be closing down for repairs for 6 months. The city has announced the 93-year-old structure will close on May 12th. Both road and pedestrian walkways will be closed off to the public. The bridge will be getting new asphalt, waterproofing, and traffic barriers, as well as railings. A water main on 19th Street near the bridge will also be replaced at the same time. On the upside, the Meewasin Trail will stay open with scaffolding tunnels, but drivers will have to use either the university or traffic bridges.
When we looked at it, and working with industry, the feedback we got, if we would do a full bridge closure, the work can be completed in one construction season. Going to allowing traffic to be on the bridge while construction would extend it to beyond one construction season.
The city estimates the cost of the bridge repairs to be about $15.5 million. To be a golden retriever with its head out the window of a passing car on a day like this. Spring is really doing its thing in Saskatchewan, and as we head into the month of May, it could soon be feeling more like June or maybe even July. I'll have your summer-like forecast when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Horses have a distinct type of teeth, and caring for them requires a distinct set of skills. Margaret Craig holds the rare title of Equine dentist. She now travels across Saskatchewan improving horses' oral health.
Most important thing is that are they comfortable being a horse? Like, number one thing is we want them to be comfortable and able to eat properly. When I'm doing that pre-dental exam, we're making sure the jaw can move properly, that there's no any discomfort there. So the main reason is that so they can eat comfortably and properly absorb nutrients. I felt like I was kind of burned out with school, so the dentistry course is a shorter course, and I like the aspect of the running your own business side of things. I'm not a vet, but I'm still helping horses, I'm still helping animals, and that's really all I wanted to do. Basically, as the horses get older, their teeth are fully grown, so they don't continue to grow, but they continue to erupt out of the gums. So similar to rabbits or guinea pigs, they just keep coming out. It's not that they're growing, but they just keep coming out of the gum tissue. So if you have a horse, so a very young horse, their teeth are like this long, like 5 inches long. Whereas an older horse like Rainy, her molars would be much shorter. So what I do first is their incisors. So those front teeth, making sure they're nice and flat across, that there's no, so that they can properly slide that jaw across like that. And then we address what's going on in the back of the mouth. So normally we do those sharp points first. We, along the buccal side, so along the cheeks on the top and along the tongue on the bottom sides. And then we'll work on the occlusal surfaces so that the surface of the tooth, top and bottom, and make sure that's balanced properly. And then if the horse is used for riding and stuff like that, we'll roll in those bit seats. And then, yeah, once we're all done, we'll check the incisors again, because when changing the back of the mouth, sometimes change the front of the mouth. So once that's all good, we check that lateral excursion again to make sure we got good grind, so that the molars we've got contact to the teeth. That's kind of it. But generally, each horse should be done at least once a year, because we don't know what's going on in the back of the mouth. We can't see that. They can't tell us. And horses are very stoic animals. They won't show you that there's a problem often until it's really a big problem. It's really satisfying. It's very oddly satisfying. But I really like talking to people. I like teaching the owners, and I like teaching when there's kids around, they like to hang out and watch, and I really like just sharing the knowledge about it, and so people understand why we do it. The relief you see in their eyes when they actually realize something has changed in there, when you do a really bad one, and they're like, holy crap. And you can see it, and they're so much happier.
To give the camera a kiss.
Well, in Regina, we have seen a nice sunny day once again with temperatures getting up into that nice seasonal range. Some cloud cover, though, building out there that you see on our tower cam overlooking downtown. And here is the reason why. We'll show you our radar and satellite, and you can see we have some clouds, some showers that have moved through western portions of the province through the day, including in the Saskatoon area. We did see some showers earlier Wednesday afternoon, and even a few lightning strikes into southwestern Saskatchewan, slowly trundling its way eastward. And as that rain has moved through, temperatures have dropped slightly in the western half of south and central Saskatchewan, but daytime highs getting near the 20-degree mark if you were a little bit further east, including in Regina and Estevan. But in the far north, especially as you see there, you were trapped behind that cold front once again for Wednesday. And so temperatures once again not making it above the freezing mark in some places. Add to that the fact that sort of the reason that's happening is we're getting some cloud cover and even some snow continuing in the far north of the province. That moves into the Churchill region as we get overnight into early Thursday morning. That rain that's been moving through western sections of south and central begins to move eastward overnight, and so Regina, Weyburn-Estevan, up through the Parkland region, expecting a few showers, or at least if you don't get the showers, it'll be a cloudy night. Things starting to clear out for Thursday, though, although a few pop-up showers still possible for Regina and the southeast corner. And then Friday morning, watching another small system bringing some mostly rain showers through portions of the north before things really start to clear out more substantially as we get into the weekend. So for south and central, I think rainfall amounts here pretty minimal, maybe 1 to 3 millimeters at most. And again, rain's not going to fall everywhere. It's just scattered showers, so these are going to be just kind of popping up here and there. Through the north, a little more widespread rainfall, but even at that, it's not a whole lot of accumulation, maybe a millimeter or two in most locations. But that rain and some of the warmer temperatures starting to melt away the snowpack that we are still seeing in portions of the north, and especially as we get into Saturday, that begins to move away. But there are still some sections in the far north where pockets are, upwards of 30 to 45 centimeters of snow on the ground. If you're in Stony Rapids, the end of April average is about 10 centimeters on the ground. That's what we're seeing there in the Stony Rapids area. But even at that, I don't think the snow is going to last long because very warm air starts to move in for the weekend, that jet stream well above the province, and that means temperatures will jump into the high 20s by the time we get to the weekend. Until then, a bit of a cooler day for Regina with some showers Thursday before things start to clear out. For Saskatoon, I think less of a chance of showers, but a bit of a breezy day for Thursday and Friday. And those warm temperatures into the mid-20s for the weekend. Gorgeous weekend in store. We drop sharply as we get into Monday, but even after that, temperatures nicely rebounding into the low 20s, and looks like the sunshine is going to be sticking around as well. Well, it is official. The PWHL is getting its second expansion team in as many weeks, and it's in Seattle.
This is an area that is hungry for hockey and hungry for women's hockey. It's great to see the PWHL live in Seattle.
Now Keller across Rebecca, she scores! This place is so energetic. They're full of so much life. They're gonna love you, and this is the stage that you guys deserve.
The announcement was made Wednesday morning with this video. PWHL Seattle is set to join the league next season. Earlier this year, the league made a stop in Seattle for its Takeover Tour series. In January, Montreal and Boston faced off at the Climate Pledge Arena, the same venue where the Seattle Kraken play. The arena, the new team will call home. The league says details on how the expansion draft will work will be made public in the coming weeks. Jays catcher Dalton Varsho made a spectacular catch in his season debut for the Toronto Blue Jays Tuesday night.
High fly ball center field. Varsho's back. He falls down. Oh my goodness, did he just do that? Are you kidding me?
Definitely highlight reel gold. He rolled over before turning his glove around to catch the ball backwards. The Jays eventually lost to the Red Sox 10-2, but there is no doubt Varsho will go down in Jays history for that amazing catch, and he could be one of this season's contenders for a Golden Glove, too.
Tripped on his feet, rolled over.
Well, a police car chase in Australia ended with a standoff on a narrow jetty. The Jeep drove off the jetty and into the water, narrowly missing the police boat. The driver climbed on top of the sinking vehicle for a bit. He then made a second try at escaping before police apprehended him. The vehicle is reported to have been involved in an earlier traffic incident. Looks like a movie being shot there. Stay with us. We have more news for you after the break. The 2025 CFL draft has concluded, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders have now added 7 new players to their roster. With the 4th overall pick in last night's draft, the Riders selected defensive lineman Ali Saud from Windsor, Ontario. Saud, who's been playing for a U.S. college, says he's excited to learn the nuances of Canadian football.
I mean, played in the States for a while now. It's just going to be actually damn near everything. I gotta learn. I know it's a whole different type of level, and I know it's a whole different type of scheme. So I'm just ready to come in, learn something new. It's obviously completely new for me. I know a little bit, but not much. So I'm excited to come in, learn more.
The Riders also selected Canadian quarterback Curtis Rourke. He is the younger brother of BC Lions QB Nathan Rourke. Curtis just wrapped up a prolific career at Indiana University. He was also picked by the San Francisco 49ers in last week's NFL draft. So it may be a while before fans see him in Saskatchewan, but Riders GM Jeremy O'Day says Rourke's potential was too much to pass up.
It's a futures pick and something that may never happen, but you know, when we looked at the potential of having him on your team and what he would bring, and you know, the success his brothers have and had in our league, and you know, the fact of, you know, can you never have enough good quarterbacks, and so we thought that was the time we should take a shot on him.
And CFL training camps are right around the corner. Rider rookies report to camp in Saskatoon on May 7th. Well, looking for a few more showers, especially if you're in eastern sections of south and central Saskatchewan, but those temperatures nice and warm above the freezing mark for western sections there. Maybe a few more showers this evening before things begin to clear out. Into northern Saskatchewan, boy, is it ever going to be a cold night if you're in the far north. Back down into the mid to even upper minus teens in some places. That snow and rain moving into the Churchill region, but then that quickly moves out as we head into Thursday, although temperatures, especially in the far north, struggling to recover, maybe still below the freezing mark in some places. For south and central, showers to start the morning in the southeast corner. A few of those may still be lingering as we go into the afternoon, but for much of the rest of us, looking at those clouds clearing away, temperatures nicely warming up as well, but a bit of a windy one, especially if you're in Regina and the southeast. And that is it for us. For news anytime, you can head to our website or subscribe to our CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel, or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.